bhavatu sahanau bhunaktu saha viryam karavavahai tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we saw yesterday that Arjuna, given the life circumstances and the situation where he was, he found himself as somebody who was struggling, and he asked Lord Krishna two questions. The first question was, what should I do in this situation? And the second question was that he recognized the fact that regardless of whether he fights or he doesn't fight, regardless of whether he wins or he doesn't win, he does not see how this problem that everybody has, his problem, right? And that is that how will he get fulfillment? So that means at that point in life, he recognized that decision making is one thing, what should I do in this situation and what should I not do, that's one level of problem. But regardless of what you do, you can't get fulfillment is another level of understanding. So therefore he said, what will give me the lasting fulfillment that I am searching for? And so two questions, and Lord Krishna had to choose the order of the questions, and Lord Krishna chose to answer the fundamental human problem, which is the problem that every human being has. We have been doing so many activities, very busy in our life, and all the activities that we have done so far, underlying expectation of all these activities is that I want to be fulfilled. That is what we actually are looking for. And at some point in our life, we all recognize that all this busy life that we have led, many different activities we have performed, they have given us some amount of fulfillment, of course. But it doesn't solve your fundamental search, which is for lasting freedom. So therefore, Lord Krishna begins to teach him that knowledge which will give lasting freedom. And that knowledge happens to be self-knowledge. That means we are searching for things which already we are. We are searching for fulfillment, so-called out in the outside world. And what Lord Krishna is saying is, hey, the place of search is wrong. You will find fulfillment, but not through this method. The way you will find fulfillment is knowing clearly what your true nature is. So then, the next question is, what is my true nature? And he says, he makes the opening statement that we saw yesterday. He says, Panditaha na anushojanti. What does it mean? The wise people have no grief, not because they are suppressing their emotions, not because they are kind of trying to have some kind of an equilibrium where they tell, oh, no matter what happens, I'm going to be the same. It is born of their understanding of nature of Atma. So then, what is the understanding they have about the nature of Atma? So the next verse we saw that generally, here he says, Atma is na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Generally, we think that Atma is subject to birth and death. Because, why? Why do we think like that? Because our I is totally connected to the body. So we saw yesterday that the body is nothing but what? Different cells. And those cells themselves are constantly changing, coming and going. And you don't go and come with the cells, you are always there. So that means there is a difference in a statement that is, I have a special relationship with one body. That's a correct, accurate statement. Among all the different bodies, I have a special relationship with one body. True. But because I have a special relationship with one body, I am the body is false conclusion. So that means if you are not one cell, you can't be sum of all the cells. Logic. Now, the second identification we have is with the mind. And the mind itself, as we saw, it is a very sophisticated instrument. It is not just a simple instrument. It can do many, many different things. So when senses see objects, they report to the mind. And mind is almost like a central processing unit, where all the processing of the data takes place. And that processing of the data has 4 different functions. One is, it gives you about a certain emotions. The external world and the impressions give you certain emotions. Then you also have a certain reasoning capacity to make sense of what is going on. That is the second function. The third function is, not only you make sense and you have emotions, you store all these in your memory, which makes available to you at different times. Selective drawing we do. And the fourth is ahankara, which is your I sense. So that means whatever happens in these different 3 functions, they all get connected to your I sense. So that means even though 3 different types of thoughts come and go, each one of them get connected to your I sense. So it gives the feeling that this I sense is permanent and that is your nature. But what Vedanta says is that all the different functions of the mind, including your I sense, are constantly changing. And therefore, if they are coming and going, what is your relationship with this coming and going the thoughts, which can be in any of the 4 categories? Your relationship is, before the thought comes, you are present. While the thought is there, you are present. After the thought goes, you are present. So that means you are that invariable presence, which is Chit Swarupa. Chit Swarupa means Chit in English can be translated most commonly by 2 words. One is awareness and the second is consciousness. Now, when we use the word consciousness or awareness, generally we use it with our understanding of what is awareness, right? Generally, we all use this word, consciousness, awareness. In what sense do we use it? Do we use it in the sense that Vedanta is explaining to us? No. We use it in the sense of what? Oh, I'm conscious means I'm kind of not unconscious. Unconscious means your mind shuts down. That is the way we use the word conscious, right? Our awareness we use in the sense of, oh, this person has awareness about environment. That is the way we use these words. Both these, the way we use these words, please understand, they are related to activities of the mind. Right? That you're conscious means your mind is able to think. That is what, and if you're unconscious, your mind is not able to think. And when you're aware of issues means you are concerned about those issues. Right? So both these words, when I say those words, there is a possibility that you will understand these words in the way you are used to. So this is why it is teacher's job to make you see the meaning of chit is not the meanings that you may create. The meaning of the word chit is something very specific. And what is the meaning? So there is a relationship between thoughts and awareness. Yesterday we saw that this bottle is clear. Now, when I place this object in front of the bottle, it seems as though the bottle is what? The bottle is what? Pink, right? Now, this is a perception that you have. Is it reality or it is just a perception? What? Pink bottle, is it reality or perception? Perception. It seems very real, but actually it is not as real as how it perceives. Now, imagine that you come in this world where it was programmed in a way that once this watch will come and it will go. Then this flower will come and it will go. Now, when the watch is replaced by the flower, what will you think? Oh, before what? The bottle was pink, now the bottle is what? Violet. So that means you keep now, then you say, oh, now the bottle is red. Right? And you keep thinking that. What Vedanta says is, these objects are equivalent to thoughts. They come and they go. Sometimes you say, I'm happiness. Sometimes you say, oh, I'm a little sad. Sometimes you say, I'm a little jealous. These things keep coming and going, and whatever the nature of thought is, you impute it to what? I, the awareness. What does Vedanta say? The thoughts come and go. The awareness is what? Always free from the content of the thought. So that means you are already free. Now, yesterday, a question she asked, which was an interesting question, why can't I? Because sometimes I say I'm sad, then sometimes I say I'm happy, sometimes I say I'm jealous, sometimes I say that I'm feeling good, sometimes I say I'm ill. Why can't I be all of them? If all of them was your intrinsic nature, like if all these colors was the intrinsic nature of the bottle, what would happen? Tell me, what will happen? You will see all these colors all at the same time stuck to the bottle, because bottle's intrinsic nature is all these colors. Do you see that? This comes and it goes. This comes and it goes. The other one comes and it goes. If something is the intrinsic nature of that given object, like sugar has sweetness as its intrinsic nature. If sugar has intrinsic nature as sweetness, you will not one time find it sweet, next time find it salty, third time find it sour. So therefore, if all these things come and go, that means this is completely free from it. Go back to your mind. Let's see the thought of, let's say, I am happy comes. Does it stick to you for rest of your life? If it sticks to you for rest of your life, you will not search for happiness. I'm sad. Hey, you look at the sunshine. Does the sadness stick to you? You're happy. That also goes. If all of this was your real nature, you will be stuck with all of them simultaneously forever. Logic. You can't get rid of them. But right now, none of the thoughts that you had thought of about I, hopefully, is sticking to you. You're just listening to me as a simple, conscious being who's just trying to understand what I'm saying. That means none of the things that you had thought of are sticking to you right now. If they were your real nature, they would be stuck to you forever. So this is what the nature of Atma is, free. So there are emotions happening, there is a cognitive capacity, there is a sense of I, but the locus is not Atma, the awareness. The locus is what? The locus is where? What is the locus? The mind. Antakarana is the locus where all the activities are going on. Antakarana, you understand? The inner instrument, it actually means the mind. So, this is what Lord Krishna is talking about, that nature of Atma is what he says. Let's go back to the verse. Na jayate mriyate va tadachit. So that means the body comes into being. It is born and the body stops existing at one given point in time. As long as you think that I am the body, what happens is you become mortal. Here he says awareness is free from different conditions of the body. So therefore, the body was not there before it was born. Body and mind will not be there once you are gone. But awareness is something which is always present. Na bhavita va na bhuya. There is never going to be a time that awareness is displaced. Bodies come and go, awareness doesn't get displaced. Now, ajaha nityaha shashvataha ayam puranaha na hanyate anyamane sharire. These are big words, they need to be understood. Now, look at this. If you understand that yes, I'm not this body and mind, but I'm awareness. And if you understand I'm not body and mind and I'm awareness. And if you understand I'm not body and mind and I'm awareness. Then the next question is, how many awarenesses are there? Wow, he knows the answer because she told me that he's a teacher. So therefore, he knows the answer, there is one awareness. But the next question is, it's easy to make a statement, but why? Right? I can always say yes, there is one awareness, but I need to show you how it cannot be any other way. If I'm a teacher, I have to show you why. I can't just make a statement, oh, it's one awareness and next what? I can't do that. So therefore, you need to little bit look into how do we arrive at this answer, which is a right answer, correct answer. That is what we call pedagogy. Pedagogy means there is a method of explaining. You can't just make statements and proceed. So therefore, why is it that there is only one Atma? Tell me. The logic is very, very strong. If I were to make a statement, now look at this. If I were to make a statement that there are two awarenesses, your awareness is different from my awareness, then it is my responsibility to show you how my awareness is different from your awareness. So that means I have to give some attribute to my awareness which is different from your awareness. Do you understand that? So that means if I want to establish that these two are different objects, how will I establish these two are different objects? I will say one is red and the other one is violet. One is small, the other one is big. One has a long pollen, this one has what? I can't actually see. This is the method through which we establish that there are two different objects. There are two different objects because they enjoy two different attributes. There is a difference in size, there is a difference in color, there is a difference in shape, and this is why there are two. Now, too many activities going on here. Okay. Now, if I were to show there are two awarenesses, I have to show some attribute of my awareness which is different from your awareness. But the only way I distinguish myself from you is by the characteristic of my body. You are tall, I am shorter. You are fairer, I am darker. You have brown eyes, I have black. You have blue eyes, I have black eyes. But these are attributes of awareness? No. These are attributes of what? Body. Which I already told you, you are not. Then you can say, I can distinguish myself from you because maybe, I don't know, what is your profession?
Mine? Oh, that's a difficult question.
Okay, what did you study?
French and German.
French and German. Okay, so she studied French and German and I studied economics. She may be a very pleasant person and I may be grumpy. She may be very kind and I may be a little stingy. These are all the attributes which what distinguishes me from her. But these are the attributes of what? Mind. And I have already told you that this Atma, the awareness, is not the mind. So that means, yes, the bodies are different. There is no doubt about it. Yes, the minds are different. There is no doubt about it. But those are attributes of body and mind. Can you give those attributes to I, the awareness? No. The mistake we make is the awareness gets mixed up with attributes of body and mind, and I become what? I become many, because there are many bodies and minds. But if you put the I in the right place, which is in awareness, awareness is already free from all the attributes of body and mind. It never takes on the attribute of body and mind. Then, if I were to make a statement that there are two awarenesses, which attribute will I give to my awareness, which will make it different from your awareness? Can you say my awareness is blue and yours is pink? Can I say that? No. Because blue and pink can be the color of your shirt, not you. So therefore, there is no attribute that you can give to awareness. And the rule is that if there are two, the two things can be, one is different from the other if one has different attribute than the other. That is the only way there can be two. So therefore, awareness is free from all the attributes of the body and mind. Different bodies and mind, and awareness is only one. This awareness is one is not something that you can figure out. Please understand. Because you can't see awareness like an object. Where you can actually see it. By the way, if you saw awareness, it will become an object within time and space, different from everything else. So therefore, awareness is something which is always shining in your being as self-evident. I am, I am, I am. The problem that we all have is, we have mixed up this awareness with the characteristics of body and mind. Because among all the different bodies, we have special relationship with a given body and mind. So therefore, awareness is one and it is attributeless. Now, if you understand that, what is the location of this awareness? Is it at one specific place? If awareness is everywhere, what does it mean? If you all have the presence of awareness. And all, the birds, the animals, everything has presence of awareness. Then, where is the location of that awareness? Can you give it a specific location? No. So this is why we call it what? Ajaha mithya. It is unborn. The bodies are born, the bodies are sustained, the bodies die, and not only one body, millions of bodies are born, millions of bodies are sustained, millions of bodies die. But there is one awareness which is always non-changing. It doesn't undergo any change. Therefore, it is ajaha. It is never born. Bodies are born, awareness is not born. Nitya. Nitya means body is subject to time, awareness is not subject to time.
When we refer to the Atma as a Jivatma or an individual soul,
so that means that is a different thing. So that's why we make a mistake, no? When we take ourselves to be this body and mind, then we make a mistake. So the whole Vedanta Shastra is to help you to undo this mistake. But this so-called Jivatma, I know, I will tell a little bit later. Okay. But the meaning that we have is not what Vedanta is talking about, right? That you keep coming back. That is not really. The nature of Atma, according to Vedanta or Bhagavad Gita, is Satchidananda. That is the reality of Atma. Existence which has no limits and which is the truth of life. All that we will see, don't worry. I'll teach each and everything so that you see how. Okay. Now, so here he says what? It does not undergo change whatsoever. Shashvataha and Purana, ever new. So this is what? the thoughts have characteristics. Thoughts may be a very violent thought. Let's say a very criminal thought. You're very angry. So that means this, instead of pink and violet, which are beautiful, it shows what? Black. This seems to be what? All black. What is the reality? While there is black, this is what? Always free from blackness. This is why this anger also passes and the next thought comes. So therefore, no matter what, this Atma is not only the Atma of all the saints. Atma is also the Atma of what? All the criminal. Everything you have to include. Otherwise it doesn't become everything. So what is the difference between a saint and a criminal? The difference is the saint has mostly, majority of thoughts are what? Little nice, little pleasant. Understanding, accommodating, kind, wonderful. And the criminal has most of the activities are what? I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm anxious, I'm this, I'm that. These are different. Pink is different from black, sure. Minds are different. Nobody is saying the minds are the same. But awareness remains what? Always one and unaffected by what? Always unaffected by what? The nature of mind. Predominantly black mind, predominantly pink mind, predominantly blue mind. Each can refer to a given inclination of the mind. But awareness is one. So this is what Bhagavad Gita is saying. It is never taking any attributes, it does not undergo any change, and it is ever new and ever fresh. It is not that look at this, if you continue with the mistake, what happens is, for you, the bottle becomes pink, and your whole attempt is to what? Remove pinkness from the bottle. And you'll keep brushing it, you'll keep brushing it, and you'll keep brushing it. When will you make this bottle free from pinkness? Tell me. By keeping on brushing it. Never. All you need to understand is the bottle is not pink in the first place. It appears to be that because of a certain relationship. Then, if you don't like pinkness, you can change it. Wonderful. There is nothing wrong in it. But bottle is always free from any color. If that becomes your knowledge, there is a paradigm shift. You can deal with your mind with a lot more freedom. If there is fear, okay, there may be some reason for it. Let me deal with it. But your I never becomes fearful. If there is anger, okay, I need to take care of it. Wonderful. But I never becomes angry. A certain relationship, there is a clarity. If you have no clarity, then what happens is your I gets loaded with hundreds of things. And whole life goes in cleansing your I. And the nature of mind is such that all kinds of things will keep coming up. And you keep putting pressure and you keep telling yourself, oh, I am not clean, I'm not clean, I'm not clean. So this is why Vedanta is a complete paradigm shift. Understanding what happens where, that is the first point of clarity. Atma is awareness. So that is why Lord Krishna can make a statement that Atma is all pervasive. It is never born and it is never dead. It is something which has no attributes. It doesn't undergo any change. It does not undergo any modifications. And it is ever new. So now the next question is, I have to move because I have many verses to go. Okay, next. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grannati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani sayyati navani dehi. It's a beautiful thing. Here he says that this awareness, which is already free from all attributes, it does come connected to what one given body and mind. Then you can say that for me, there's awareness as though connected to what? My body and my mind. For you, it is connected, specially connected to what? Your body and your mind. For you, it is connected to your body and your mind. Why does awareness come in special connection with one given body and mind? Why? Why should it? So this is why it says, all of us have one thing in common. You may have different body and mind, I may have different body and mind, but we all have one thing in common, and that is what we call ignorance about our true nature. When we are born, we have ignorance about our true nature. We come with that ignorance. So that means we don't know all that is here is one. Even if, see, the human brain develops in a way that many psychologists say that in the first couple of years, you don't have a very fixed definition of a boundary. Right? But that is not because you are a wise person. That is because your brain hasn't yet developed to know the distinction. So as the brain develops, what happens is those distinctions begin to be very clear to you. So therefore, all of us, the fact that you're born on this earth means that you haven't yet removed the ignorance. We are all born with this natural understanding that I am as good as the body and mind. So when you make that mistake, what happens is you can't stand the smallness, and therefore you try to engage in the world to get rid of your smallness. All of us do the same. Now, when you try to engage in the world, you perform. How do you engage in the world? By performing actions. When you perform an action, then there are two types of results. You can't escape the two types of results. One is the seen result and the other one is unseen result. Drishta phalam and adrishta phalam. What does it mean? That, let's say I was kind to you, I will feel what? Good. I will feel happy. That is what we call seen result. Drishta phalam. I do something good, immediately I feel good. Then what Vedanta says is, in addition to this result, any act of kindness will also bring some other pleasant situation in the future. You may not know how, you may not know in what form, but it will come back to you. This is what we call unseen result. This is why, let's say you are walking and you're struggling with the weight and somebody comes and says, can I help you? And helps you to carry this heavy thing. You know, sometimes when I travel alone, and there's a big baggage and I have to put it down, and people come and they just do it for me. And that, I don't know why somebody came and did it to me. We don't know. Unseen result. Any act, I cannot relate, I was kind to this person, so therefore this is coming to me. We can't relate like that. So that is what we call the unseen result. The unseen result can come tomorrow, it can come 5 years from now, it can come 20 years from now, and it can come in any form. But we don't even see that connection. But the fact is, the unseen result is stored somewhere. For each one of us, the unseen result is stored somewhere. So this is why we say, what you see here are what the physical body and the subtle body. And they are all different. Your physical body is different from my body. What is the definition of physical body? Physical body in Sanskrit is called sthula sharira. The awareness, when there is, you don't know your true nature, you come with a specific connection with one given physical body and subtle body. Sthula sharira means the physical body, means everything that you can see. On the hands you can see, the legs you can see, the eyes you can see, the head you can see. In addition to this physical body, Vedanta says there is a second body which is not visible, and that is called Sukshma Sharira. Yesterday you used the word Sukshma Sharira for mind. So therefore, what is Sukshma Sharira? Sukshma Sharira, there is nowadays with this so-called spiritual thing, there are a lot of things about chakras and about auras and all. When Vedanta talks about Sukshma Sharira, it talks about something very, very factual. In this case, maybe it's factual, but I don't know anything about the other part. When Vedanta talks about the Sukshma Sharira, it talks about your 5 sense organs. What does it mean? There is something which is physical about your eyes, which is what? The physical eye. But there is something at the same time very subtle about your eyes, which is what? The sight. That means, by looking at your eyes, I can't tell whether you wear glasses or not. Unless you actually wear glasses, yes. What is your vision? Whether you have 20/20 vision or you are wearing lenses, I don't know. Or you have reading glasses, I don't know. So that means everybody can see your physical eye, but only you know about the sight that that eye has. That is why, from my standpoint, it is subtle. Because I can't see it. You can have thousands of thoughts going on in your mind, but I can maybe infer about what you are thinking based on your face, but I don't know each of the thoughts that you have. And thank God. Otherwise, imagine you're traveling by metro and you are thinking about these thoughts, you begin to see the thoughts of everyone. It'll be a mess. So therefore, this is why. There was a very nice simulation. The simulation was, there was this man who, in a subway, he was saying all kinds of things, right? And everybody's like, this man has gone mad. and he's saying all these crazy things, and this man says, actually, I'm saying what I'm thinking. If I get into your minds, you will also have all kinds of thoughts. The only difference between you and me is I'm saying it out and you are putting a straight face. So therefore, mind is subtle. Subtle means I can see you, but I can't see the activities that take place, the nature of thoughts which take place in your mind. Subtle. Subtle means something that you can't see with your physical eye. So the 5 sense organs, the 4 different functions of the mind, then prana. What is prana? Prana is, there is one thing which is what we call the physical activity, which is what? Breathing in and breathing out. But that physical activity of breathing in and breathing out, it performs so many subtle functions in my body. Circulation, digestion, evacuation. All this is, and then what? It keeps me alive. The external air, which is just external, the minute you breathe it in, it performs a very special function, which is to keep you alive. And what keeps you alive is prana. Why? Because even when the body goes, the external air is there. External air doesn't disappear. What happens? Your capacity to draw from the external air and keep the body alive goes. But nobody sees what has happened. Therefore, it is subtle. So that means the capacity of your sense organs, then finally your organs of action. Organs of action means you have hand, which is a physical hand, but by looking at the physical hand, you don't know whether it is going to move or not. Not only that whether it is going to move or not, but how much it is going to move. Some people can do this easily, some people struggle here, some people can just barely do this. This is subtle. Physical hand, everybody has. There is something which makes somebody's hand go all the way here and somebody struggling with here. Subtle. 5 organs of action, 5 sense organs, 5 pranas, and 4 functions of the mind are part of your subtle body. So, physical body, the form, and subtle body, which means we all have eyes, but each eye has different capacity. We all have ears, but ears have different capacity. We all have minds, but the mind has different qualities. And this is what we call Sukshma Sharira. Now, the question is why you have come with special connection with this physical body and this subtle body. Because, as I told you, there is unseen result. Actions that you have performed, they have not yet given you the result, they are all stored. And that is called causal body. Causal body is all the unseen results of your own actions are stored. You have made different decisions in your life. I have made different decisions in my life. And based on the choices that we have made, not only we had the seen result of our emotional life, our sense of well-being. There is something which is unseen, which will manifest sometime in the future. Either in this lifetime, if it doesn't manifest in this lifetime, the cause will remain and it will give you what? The next body. This
So
is
subtle body.
the subtle and physical body have finite life, but the
Causal
causal
body
is the
transmit.
one which keeps moving and keeps giving rise to different physical and subtle bodies, depending upon the unseen result
Karma.
that you have, which is the popular name for that unseen result is karma.
Vedanta doesn't actually use that word, is it?
So it does.
It does.
It does. Yeah. So that means the karma is, so that you can use the word karma. There is no problem at all. You can use the word karma, but what karma means is this. You have to understand, right?
Of course.
Because otherwise, what the karma itself, you don't know what is this karma. So every action that you have has two aspects. One is this, that when you perform the action, there is a immediate feedback that the universe gives you about nature of your action. And when you do an act of kindness, generosity, there is a feeling of well-being. And when you do something which is impinging upon others' freedom, then it gives you a sense of conflict. That is called seen result, immediate feedback. But in addition to that immediate feedback, there are consequences which will show up later. It is like, easiest example of karma. You eat food, right? Immediately you eat healthy food, you feel light, you feel good. That is the seen result. And the unseen result is when you are growing up 80 years, how is your digestive system? Unseen result. It will show up much later. So that is what, and it can show up within lifetimes. So this is what we call, as long as you are not knowing the nature of Atma as awareness, which is completely free from any attributes and it is only one, till that time, what will happen is you keep coming to this world with different physical and subtle bodies. And those physical and subtle bodies that you come with are a result of what? Your unseen results. The unseen results of actions that you have performed when you don't know. Yes. So therefore, this is how. So you are going through your own specific experiences. And when will there be an end? Tell me. Can it end? You are in this birth, you try to be a very good human being. You try to be kind, you try to be compassionate, you try to be understanding, you help others. What will you do to this cycle? What will you do? Will it end? By being good? No. Why not?
Because you still have a causal body.
Excellent. So that means when you do a good action, you still have causal body. So that means the unseen result of those good actions are stored and they will still give you maybe a little better body. Maybe a little bit more better mind. But this coming and going doesn't stop. This particular phenomena where you don't know your nature. So that means there is an ignorance about you being awareness. And because of that, you have special connection with body, subtle body, physical body, subtle body, and causal body. That phenomena is called jiva. You live your life as one entity in the universe. And you keep living your life as one entity in the universe, not only in this lifetime, but lifetimes, for lifetimes. So therefore, but in any one lifetime, when you are born as a human being, the possibility to what? Know your true nature is given to you. If you collapse that possibility, and then you discover that I'm not this person, little person, who's choosing to act and get the result of the action. All that, where is it happening? Where is it happening? In the mind. And who am I? The awareness which is completely free from whatever is going on in my mind. Is this awareness acting? No. It does not act. Therefore, the minute you understand the fact that I am awareness and I am not the different conditions of the mind, you are no longer liable for the whole karma that you were stuck with. Because the whole model of karma operates within what? Avidya. Avidya means when you are ignorant about your true nature, then you act as an individual and you receive result for that. And it keeps going on and on and on until in one lifetime you figure out, hey, I'm not this little individual, I am awareness which has no limitation, which is always free, which has never got tainted by any thought or any action. It is free from all attributes. It's always new. It's always pure. Pure means you can't even give an attribute of pureness. It's just free. So, this is what Lord Krishna is saying, that what vasamsi jirnani, until you know your true nature, what will happen is the old, just as a human being gives up old clothes and takes on new clothes, like every time I come to Europe, I buy new clothes and give up old clothes. In the same way, we all, a jiva, an individual, who still hasn't taken care of the problem of ignorance about nature of Atma, takes on new bodies and gives up what? Old bodies.
So we are talking about not Atma.
Exactly.
An embodied.
Exactly.
That's
So that's why we make the distinction between Jiva and then Atma. Atma is your true nature. Jiva is when there is ignorance about the nature of Atma, there is a connection to physical, subtle and causal bodies, which remains not only in one lifetime but in lifetimes. Okay? So, this is what Lord Krishna is saying. Now, the next question. So now what we have understood is, there is one entity called Atma, the awareness. And the other entity is what we call Anatma, not Atma. And that includes what? What does it include? Anatma, what does it include? all the bodies, all the minds, right? Which is not Atma, which is not awareness. Then the sun, the moon, the earth, the plants, the animals, everything is what? Not Atma. Because Atma we have defined as what? Awareness. Now, this causes a problem. Why does this cause a problem? How many things are not Atma? Many.
Everything else.
Everything else. So that means everything else becomes huge and Atma is struggling with everything else. So this is not what it is. Next verse. Nainam chindanti shastrani nainam dahati pavakaha na chainam kledayantyapaha na shoshayati marutaha. Beautiful. It says, now this so-called everything else category, which seems to be a huge category, in fact you can't even begin to list the objects of the universe. Begin to list the objects of the universe. How far you will go? Tell me. What will you write? Objects of the universe. Elephants. Stop. What? Then within elephants, how many? It is enormous category. Do you understand? Insects, amoebas, bacterias. Such a wide variety of things. Then things, the species which are distinct like dinosaurs. We don't know the species which will come in the future. Who knows? So they tell me, I don't know if it is true or not, but they tell me because when broccoli, the vegetable, is a hybrid of cauliflower and spinach. So that means it's not a natural vegetable, it's a mixture of two. So that means broccoli did not exist before as an object, but now it exists. Then in the future you will do other mixtures, some other objects will come. Mobile phones that seem so indispensable today didn't exist 20 years ago. So that means not only the object category is huge, it is constantly changing. New objects are evolving and the old objects are becoming extinct. If the object category is real, then Atma becomes still small. Because it is not all of these amazing things that the world consists of. So therefore, the next verse, Lord Krishna makes you see the relationship between Atma, the awareness, and everything else which is the object category. And it says, this whole object category that you see is nothing but different permutation and combination of 5 elements. What are the 5 elements? Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha and Prithvi. Akasha means space, Vayu means air, then Agni is fire, water and Prithvi. And Prithvi is earth.
Apa is water.
Apa is water. And Prithvi is earth. So that means, there is, if you look at the universe from a scientific model, then what you say, everything is nothing but different permutation and combination of atoms, right? Now here Vedic model is slightly different model. The atoms themselves can create these 5 elements. And the whole universe is nothing but different permutations and combination of these elements. So look at this physical body now. Where is space in this body? Different organs. This organ, liver is here, kidney is there. So that means they are within what? Space, right? And what separates them is what? Space. So that means in this body itself, the body is in space. Whatever is internal in the body is within space. Every organ is separated from other organ in space. So that means this body is a part of this body design is. Space is integral part of this design. Otherwise what will happen? Liver will be superimposed on kidney. Both of them won't be able to function. So there is space. Where is air? As I told you, I don't know if you close your mouth and your nose, how long we can survive. Not for too long. So that means there is a constant, not only one time, I'm constantly drawing from the universe the air and I use it for keeping my body alive. So space, air, water. One good news is all these, women nowadays I see all across the world obsessed with their weight. Everybody wants to be slim. The good news is most of the weight that you have is actually nothing but water. So that means in everybody's body, how much there is water? You know how much? 80%, 75, 80% water. And then fire. Where is fire? Fire is your digestive fire. Now 3 times a day you eat food, but that food has to convert into what? Energy, which sustains your body, which nourishes your body. And that job of cooking is done where? By digestive fire, through which it absorbs the nutrients and it nourishes the body. Fire. Prithvi. Where is Prithvi? The earth. Flesh. Your whole flesh is made up of earth. Bones. All of this. Muscles. So that means every entity, whether it is an animal entity, or it is an insect, or it is a fish, or it is a human being, or it is the sun and the moon. They are all different permutations and combinations of these 5 elements. So that means if you want to know the relationship between awareness and everything else, first it seemed as though the objects are infinite. So many different objects. Now what do? You can say, no matter what that object is, it's a different permutation and combination of 5 elements. Whether it is the object of the past, object of the present, or object of the future. The forms are different, functions are different, but one thing remains the same, that they are different permutation and combination of 5 elements. Then your job becomes easy. Now what you have to do is, you have to figure out what is the relationship of awareness with what? 5 elements. Because this whole Jagat, which is so many different objects, is now reduced to what? Nothing but different permutation and combination of 5 elements. So therefore, what is the relationship of awareness with Akasha, Vayu, Agnihi, Apaha and Prithvi? Space, air, water, fire and earth. So if you really look into the earth itself is what, again, you begin to disintegrate. The earth, if you hold the earth in your hand, what is this? What are the constituents of this earth? Ultimately, it is what? Just nothing but atoms. And the atoms are nothing but particles. You take water. What is water? Again, atoms. H2O. 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. You take fire. Again, what? The atoms with a certain arrangement, they can have a certain attribute which creates fire. Even the sun and its heat is what? Nothing but hydrogen atoms, which are converting into helium to give you all the energy that you need. Air. Air also has so many different particles. Oxygen also. So much oxygen is needed in the air. So that means the whole universe, look at this, with all these varied names and forms, can be first reduced to 5 elements. Those 5 elements in turn can be reduced to atoms. The atoms can be reduced to particles. And then it can go on. It can be what now the scientists, few years ago, they talk about quarks, and then at a certain point in time, there is nothing physical anymore about whatever is the next. That's why the whole of physics mostly is in form of what? Mathematical formulas. Because there is no tangibility after the atoms, there is no tangibility.
What is about space?
Yeah, we are first doing this, then we go into space. Yeah. We stay with one and then we move to the next. So, the air, water, what? Air, water, fire and earth, we saw, is nothing but atoms and particles. And particles themselves reduce to what? Quarks, and quarks reduce to what? Things which are nothing tangible. And how far does it go? The scientists, they don't know, because it keeps going further and further. So therefore, where scientists end, Vedanta begins. Because in this search for this final building block of the universe, when the scientists are looking, they are trying to find an object which is the building block of the universe. What Vedanta says is the object category is mithya. What does mithya mean? Mithya is defined as that which has a dependent reality. And Satyam is defined as that which has independent reality. So the whole Jagat is mithya. Why is it mithya? Because every form depends upon these 5 elements for its existence. That's why it is dependent reality. Those elements in turn depend upon atoms for their existence. Those atoms also depend upon particles for their existence. The particles themselves depend upon quarks for their existence. And ultimately, it just is, there is nothing tangible about it. It only becomes concept. So that means the whole object category is now, when I look into the truth of the object category, it is reduced to concept. Whether it is the sun or the moon or the animal or human body. So that means finally only one thing remains. What is the one thing which remains? Awareness. So now the job is easy. You need to know the relationship between concept and awareness. What is the relationship between concept and awareness? Can concept exist independent of awareness? No. Does awareness depend upon concept for its existence? No. Sathya mithya relationship. There is only one independent reality, which is awareness. Everything else which constitutes of the universe, which includes all the different objects in the universe, they have a dependent reality. Why? Because whether it is a far-off star or it is my body, we both are nothing but different permutations and combinations of 5 elements. And those elements in turn are dependent upon atoms, particles, and it goes on. And ultimately, everything is just a concept and it depends upon awareness. So now, if you look at the universe, how many things are there? Are there millions? There is only one. Why is there only one? Because what? It's a nice verse in Chandogya Upanishad. It says, Vacha Rambhanam Vikaro Namadheyam Vrittika Ityeva Satyam. Beautiful. It says, oh, I forgot that beautiful gift that I got. I didn't bring it. Okay. Now, use your imagination. You don't need objects. Use your imagination. Right? Imagine that I'm holding, right, 5 different pots in my hand. Clay pots. If you look at the forms, the first, what will it seem to you? And if I ask you, how many objects are there? What will you say? 5. Why? Because there are 5 pots, 5 different forms. One is big, one is small, one can contain more water, one can be painted pink, the other one can be brown. So that means there are 5 pots. Now, if I tell you, there is a kind of a relationship between pot and the clay. And the relationship is Satyam and Mithya. The pot, it has a dependent reality because the pot cannot exist without the clay. Whereas the clay has independent reality. Because the clay can survive without being a pot. So that means the first pot has a dependent reality, pot is mithya. The second pot has a dependent reality, that pot is mithya. The third pot has a dependent reality, it is mithya. The fourth pot is dependent reality, it is mithya, and so is the fifth one. But all of these 5 pots depend upon what? One thing. And what is that one thing? Clay. So if you look at the forms, how many things you will find? 5. If you look at the content, how many things you will find? 1. Do you need to destroy the pot to find the clay? No. You don't have to do anything. And you can enjoy the differences in color. You can enjoy the differences in color. You can celebrate the differences. Oh wow. This pot, if it shifts its vision and it says, I am clay and clay has no shape, intrinsically the clay is free from all shapes, sizes, then it can what? Enjoy that little small form. If it takes the form as the reality, it becomes small, insignificant. This becomes big, there is jealousy, there is rivalry. That means as long as our vision, if we give more reality to the form, we are stuck with being small. You see millions of things in the universe and your position is insignificant. But the same pot, remaining the pot, can shift the vision to clay, then the same little pot can say, all that is here is one clay. This is appearing in small. Let me enjoy. Small is cute. Let me enjoy that. Let me also enjoy something is big. Wonderful. You need a variety, right? You can't be all the same in this world. Variety does not pose a problem. Because all these different forms that you see are nothing but manifestation of one reality. They all depend upon one awareness for their existence. They all have dependent existence. But the dependent existence is something which is created such a varied universe. What a play! Same the atoms and different the particles create different atoms, and the atoms organize to create all these different objects of mountains, rivers, animals, human beings. You can enjoy the variety. Celebrate the variety. What a play! One thing is the reality. No matter which form comes, no matter which form goes, there is one thing which is non-changing reality. And that non-changing reality is you. It's not something else. That is the meaning of I am awareness. So this is why the Lord Krishna says, if you understand your nature as awareness, then nainam chindanti shastrani. The weapons, right, which can destroy objects, can the weapons destroy awareness? No. Nainam dahati pavakaha. the fire cannot burn, the fire can burn objects. Can fire burn awareness? No. Nainam kledayanti apaha. The waters don't drown this Atma. Objects can be drowned by what? Water. Atma cannot be drowned by water. And na shoshayati marutaha. The air cannot what? Dehydrate or suck. It can do it for objects but not for awareness. So that means the body, which is made up of 5 elements, which is air, water, fire, earth and space, it can be drowned, it can be burned, it can be dehydrated, it can do all of this. But if you shift your eye to Atma, it is free from every affliction or every condition that this body is subject to. So therefore, the relationship between the universe, which is nothing but 5 elements, in Atma is true. The 5 elements cannot exist without awareness. Awareness is independently existing of these 5 elements. Now, as I told you, I showed only 4 things. What are the 4 things? Air, water, fire and earth. So she is very smart and she picked up that I didn't yet speak about space. Correct? And that is correct. So now we have to do one more thing. All these different objects that exist, they exist within what? Time and space framework, right? They exist within time and space framework. Now what we have done is, the whole object category we have reduced to nothing but a concept, and that concept depends upon Atma, the awareness. Now we have to look into the relationship between time, space and awareness. Because if we don't do that, as she very rightly pointed out, that the analysis is not complete. Because space doesn't come in this category. Space is the space in which the water exists, in which air exists, in which fire exists, and earth exists. So we have to treat space little differently. Now, time-space is what? Together. So now, what we need to do is look at the relationship between time, space and awareness. It's 10:30 and I think we have to take a break. So I will do it after the break. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate